All right. So I went about $20,000 into debt working for a pyramid scheme. Now, the crazy part here isn't even the $20,000 in debt. The crazy part is the fact that it was actually way more than that was actually spent on the said business model. So, business model, yeah. So basically, how it went, actually, I spent 3 years working there. So 3 years, you can imagine, I was able to really climb the ladder in the said business or the pyramid scheme. And the place or the business I worked for was called Smart Circle. So maybe some of you guys have heard about it. It's the so-called, labeled Devil Corp or whatever, how businesses that exploit people basically for gain, and the people get nothing in return. Honestly, these days it just sounds like any corporation, and pyramid scheme is usually a fancy word for anything that has a ladder and a pyramidal structure, which is basically most companies. But in this case, it was exactly that, where you hiring people, you getting people under you causes you to get promoted, and then at some point, at some stage of promotion, you'll start making a percentage off of the people that work for you, right? And here's the thing, why I personally was very vulnerable to it is because, as a lot of us are young men who are extremely ambitious, we want to accomplish and conquer everything. And at the time I was working in construction. So check this out, right? 22-year-old working construction. I was making $20 an hour. That's just like cash, right? And it was pretty decent for the time being because I was also a student. I was studying biology, and then I was in computer science. I ended up dropping out anyway for said pyramid scheme. I wasn't really planning to finish school at all, so I can't blame, whatever I did after. But the point is, this is the kind of people that are the most susceptible to it, the big dreamers, the people who want to accomplish everything and, want to move forward. And that's exactly the type of people that are working there. And so it turns out, if I'm making $20 an hour working construction, and construction is pretty hard work. It was very hard work. And if I was able to make about $200 per day working there, one day, my younger brother, he was looking for jobs, and he eventually, he comes into my room and he's like, "Hey, I got this new job and I don't even know what it's about. It's a little, I have no idea what it's for. It's some kind of marketing, but I guess I'll just go to the interview, and, it seems like they like me. Okay, cool." So, further down the line, he comes in and he made his first sales, and he's like, "Hey, today, check this out. I finished training and I made my first sale, so I just made, $150. And then the next day he was like, "I made $300. And then some days he was like, "I made $600. I'm like, all right. What the hell's going on here? How am I busting my ass working construction and using that money to pay for school and only making $200 a day? And this kid is making double that. Not every day, but of course, it's commission based, so there is some risk that comes with it." And he says, "It's so easy, dude. All we do is we walk around knocking on doors and selling internet. It's that easy." And I was like, knocking door to door? What is that? I've heard about it before. It sounds like an ancient method of marketing. It was like door to door, And me being extremely introverted and basically allergic to the word sales, business, or anything communication related. I had no idea how to talk to people, much less sell something to them at their door that they probably don't want or are not even interested. And so one of the reasons I thought, all right, I can really use some lessons on how to get my communication skills up, because that's going to help me in life. And that was a big plus. And on the other hand, I thought, hey, if he's making money like that, so can I. Right? And all I have to do is walk around. I get to wear, if it's cold, I get to wear a jacket, and I don't have to use my hands. I don't have to build stuff. It's so much easier. I just have to talk my way into making a sale. So on the surface, sounds absolutely amazing. Like the way it's painted, and it's done so on purpose. It's painted in such a way that it's amazing. And he was also, my younger brother, was encouraged to recruit. And here's the interesting thing, right? These businesses are, and that's what they called it, all the higher ups, the upper management, they called it, it's a recruiting business, because the only way you can level up and grow is by having more people under you. And one of the ways that was done is obviously through advertisements. That's a whole other story. And posting on Indeed. And another way was through personal recruits, which was highly encouraged because it's easy. It's people who trust you. And, if I trust what my brother says, I'll come work there. And so I left my construction job. I started working there. And, it was not, of course, it was right away not as expected. And I can go into a lot of details, but in general, I learned how to make some sales. It wasn't that difficult. You just kind of go through a script, and some people are going to buy. Some days you'll make sales, some people you won't. But the catch is, if your commission doesn't beat the minimum wage salary in Ontario, which is where I was doing this, which is where I live, then you just get the minimum wage. So worst comes to worst, I'm making $16 an hour as minimum wage. That's worst comes to worst. So I thought, well, what's the risk there, And generally, it never turned out as they explained, because the numbers, I'm somebody who understands math and numbers very well. And immediately it was broken down for me. Like, hey, they realized, okay, this kid, he can, he's got potential. All right. They broke down the numbers. So for every sale the office makes or the business makes, half of it is for the manager, half of it is yours. So you get 50% of the sale. And each sale was worth $150. So all I have to do is make one sale a day, basically, and I make decent money. 2 sales a day, and you're making $300 a day. $300 a day. So that's all good, I can't say that I've made good money with it at all, ever, actually, making the sales, because there was always hidden bullshit. Customers canceling. Cancellation, huge issue, right? Most of the people you're selling to is on-the-spot deals. Most people want to cancel. Yes, you can manipulate them into not canceling and, keeping your commission. That's a whole thing. But it was not that lucrative at all. And that's when I realized very quickly, there's no way in hell I'm making money doing sales like this, and I'm just slaving away. Like, I'm just going to the field. We called it going to the field every day, knocking doors all day. And I thought, all right, maybe the way you make money is to level up. Let me get to the next positions. And there's a few different positions like team leader, account manager, assistant manager, and then management, or as they like to call it, ownership. So the way these pyramid schemes work is that once you're an owner, you basically get to profit off of the rest of the team. And, it's kind of like running your own business. And it's kind of independent, and it's also not independent, because you're heavily influenced by the upper management of what you should do. And of course, it seems like a dream, because they advertise that you're going to make $100,000 per year as a manager. Maybe these days it's not that crazy, but let's say even 5 years ago, making $100,000 a year as a manager. And my manager, he was 25 years old at the time. So he was 2 to 3 years older than me. And I thought, holy shit, this guy's like 25. He's a manager, runs his own business, and he makes $100,000 a year. I was like, that is where I want to be. Because you can, a lot of us young guys, we all want to be in a management role. We want to feel important, and we want to make good money. I thought, that's great. Well, that's awesome. So let me focus on that. And the way to do that is you need to train people that come into the office, train them. And once you've trained them, they go under you. That's your team. You're responsible for them. Well, of course, that didn't happen, because I was extremely eager to train. I was a lot better at training people, and I trained some absolute beast sales monsters, but I was never the crazy sales guy myself. I could do consistent sales, that's about it. But I was very good at training. And so what ended up happening is, I don't know how this slid through, but I ended up training maybe 20 people. That's a lot of people. That took months for the entire office. And then I was like, where the hell is my team? According to your math, I only need 5 people to become a manager. How have I trained 20 people and I'm not even I'm not even an account manager, which is like 2 people under you. So I thought, all right, what the hell? You start getting pissed off. You start getting what's going on? I'm gonna quit, blah blah blah. But of course, because your brother is also here, I got a really close friend working there as well. So all of us are like, no, we got this. We'll do it together. And these kind of groups of people stick together. That's what allowed us to make it further than a lot of people have. And the turnover rate is insane. So what I mean turnover is most people are scammed into this work, not even realizing it's door to door. They try it out here and there, and a week later they quit because they realize, I'm not walking under the rain for all day. I'm not walking during snow. I'm not trying to have a week where I make 0 sales, which means I get paid 0. Yes, I did say you get paid minimum wage, but that was shortly removed. It's technically better for business because that means you don't have to pay people minimum wage because you're going to hire them as a contractor. So that's a loophole. You hire them as a contractor. Now, our deal is you make sales, you get a cut. You don't make sales, you get 0. And yeah, making $0 paychecks, and it became on a weekly basis. We got paid on a weekly. It was not fun. Try working all week and making absolutely 0. And when I mean work, it's like all day. You wake up, you go to work, you come back home, and you go to sleep. And that's that. So let's get to the actual question, right? How do you lose money doing that? Okay, you can make some, lose some, but how do you lose it? Well, first off, a very, very slow drain is being a car ride leader. A car ride leader is somebody who has a car, or somebody who bought a car or had one before. And I had one before joining this business model. And you get to, that's the key word, you get to be a car ride leader, which means you get to take people to the field and back, to the breaks, to lunch, and then back to the field, and then back to the office, right? All this stuff. And naturally, I started doing that. I thought, obviously, my gas is going to be paid. Company expense, right? Like, no. The gas was not paid ever. And I had a Mazda 3, right? It's not crazy it doesn't consume crazy gas, but guess what? If you're driving all day, think about it. You go to the field, it's fuck knows where. It can be half an hour, it can be an hour. You drop all the people off in different areas, near the same neighborhood, but different streets and stuff. Then what ends up happening is you drop yourself off. 2 hours later, you pick everybody up, go to the reset. It's like a break. Go to the break, and then do the same thing again. Drop everyone off, and you knock some doors, and then you're back to picking everybody up and then go all the way back to the office. So this kind of driving, I'll tell you the numbers. I spent $800 a month on gas. Now, yes, part of it was me driving to the office, but that wasn't that much. That was maybe $200 a month. $800 a month in just gas. That's it. I had a car that it was a lease, and obviously I killed the kilometers. I was not supposed to drive this much, but that's a whole different story. That's how you passively lose money without realizing, because you keep getting a paycheck, you drive, and of course, how do they get you to drive? Well, as a lot of you guys probably know, these pyramid schemes only work on manipulation. I don't know how else to put it. It's not like it's overtly obvious. For example, what I was told is, hey, you're a serious guy, right? You're somebody who wants to become your own business owner one day. You want to run the business like I am. So in order to do that, you need to get used to investing your money. Imagine your team that you're taking to the field. Most of the time, I was not taking my team. I was taking random ass people. I do not have a team. Let's just put it that way. You're taking your guys to the field. Also, we allow you to be a car ride leader because we know that you're still going to hit your standards. You're supposed to make a certain amount of sales per week. And we know that even though you're going to drive, so you get the least time on the field because driving takes time, you'll still pull through. And on top of that, you're also so good at sales, you're going to make more money than them anyway. So it's okay. And you get to flex on them. I drive you guys to the field. I'm the one with the car. I pay for my own gas, and I still make more money than you guys. And I thought, okay, that sounds fucking badass. That sounds so cool, right? As a young guy, huge ego. Perfect, let's do that. Of course. That's the manipulation I'm talking about, right? It sounds good, but it's not good at all. And eventually, you start realizing it's not even that they're letting me be a car ride leader. It's treated as a privilege. It's more of the fact that it's like, I don't know how to put it. The business needs the car. What happens if there are not enough cars and too many people? Yeah, the business is screwed. How are you going to get the people to the field to knock doors? So the business needs you, but they position it as you want to be the car ride leader because you get the status that comes with it. That's one of the ways. Yeah, excuse me. Okay, the video's gonna get too long, so cut to the chase. I eventually made it to management. It was absolutely brutal, but management is when things got actually even worse. You think you're making 100K? No, you're not. Not even close. In fact, you're now liable for everything. Everything's on your shoulders. Paying people, paying for business expenses, everything's on you. And usually, because the market is extremely saturated, your business is losing money, usually. And so if it's losing money, how do you pay yourself? Yes, you should also go out to the field and make money. What you're sold is that you're just going to do this for a year, and then you never have to hit the field ever again, because who likes knocking doors? It's not like that. Not like that at all. And you end up investing a lot of your money by not paying yourself. So I thought, okay, I need these business expenses covered. Therefore, all the money that it brings in, if it's even positive, if the profit is positive, it's going to go towards expenses. And I get paid whatever is left, which is often nothing or negative. Have you tried working months at a stretch with no paycheck? Imagine, right? It wasn't all crazy. It was all crazy. It wasn't all bad. I did pick up a lot of skills. I learned how to never be manipulated ever again, because I've worked with so many people of so many different levels, and I can just smell this shit from very far. As soon as somebody uses a certain tone, certain words, certain key things, I immediately know the intent of the person, which is a great skill to have. It's like a detection mechanism. But on top of it, you basically learn how to not be scammed. Great. And you understand how businesses work and everything. That's the good stuff. But the bad stuff is, yes, you end up killing your time. It's just all day, every day, for years. No vacations, nothing. There are work trips, work conferences and stuff, which I went on. Those are pretty good, very rare. And most conferences are just big brainwashing opportunities. So over time, you keep doing this. You slowly go into debt because you don't pay yourself. So you still have to pay your bills. And before you realize it, you're like, what the hell? That's crazy. Were there profitable months? Yes, there were some very profitable months. Very brief, just in the summer, which was enough to basically catch up on the business side of expenses. And that's it. Personally, you can stay afloat sometimes, depending on the market, depending how the clients are working with you. The client in this case would be the telecom company that sells internet, and you're like the third party. But it's a crazy experience. I would probably have to make way deeper videos on it because there's just too much things I can touch on. And I'm one of the people that actually went very deep into that. And it's very hard to leave because you've already invested so much time. And there's a general shaming that goes on because it means if you leave, you basically gave up on entrepreneurship, because they paint it as entrepreneurship is impossible these days, and this is your only vehicle for success. And if you quit, you basically quit on yourself. And of course, once you break free from that and you realize, no, I'm going to be successful regardless of which business model I try. I don't have to bank on you guys. And that's what I was like, I don't have to work with you. Like, you treat me like shit. You're scamming me all the time. I'm going to be good anyway. I'll survive, if anything. And that's what allows you to break free and leave. And Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna just leave it at that for now. It's getting way too long. But yeah, thanks for watching.